All right, so we're here today having this conversation because we're having a human rights event this Friday in the SLC. The topic I'd like to discuss first for human rights is the freedom from discrimination. This includes the immunity from being discriminated against for your religion, your age, your beliefs, your sexuality. I think this is very important because we live in a progressive country, and like other countries, people don't have these specific freedoms, which is a sad case. But in the United States, in the United States, we have such freedoms. We should be able to be pursue any career path we choose to pursue, or date whoever we'd like to date without fear of discrimination. Take out loans, even for everyday things as you should be able to rent an apartment without being discriminated against by your landlord, or you should be able to enter a certain restaurant without being discriminated against by waiters or owners. So it's just on a basic everyday level, humans should have the right to be free from discrimination.
I think that's one of the main important ones because everyone should just be free to be who they are. You know, the government shouldn't be able to tell you what you can and can't do if it's not going to hurt anyone. I mean, that's at least my thoughts.
Um, I feel that though that is a very important topic for the human rights, I feel one other is the right to education for all women and men and children alike. As we were doing in class one of these days last week with Professor Matson was Afghanistan that we were looking at, and the education was there was not equal for all. I mean, of course, the children got the education, the men got the education, the women somewhat got the education, but it was not enough because of religious restrictions. Um, some of them children that were in the school were learning a lot, but the girls, once they got into a certain age, due to the religion, they are matched up with a husband or fiance at an early age, about 17 and up. And due to that, after they get engaged, they're to stay home. The husband, it's a direct order from the husband, so they can't deny it. And they, even though they wish to go back to school and learn and make a better future for themselves, for that to happen, they will either have to divorce the husband and go back to school. Some of them rely on tactics of suicide or poisoning themselves, as we saw one of the children do back in school there. And most of them are finding hard to get their education. And as a man that has traveled through most or many African countries, I have witnessed such things as well, like in Morocco and where I'm from as well. The education system for everyone is not right. Some of them can't literally afford the education because of the price and the poverty they live in. It's not like the United States over here where we have, you know, we have a better chance of educating ourselves in high school, middle school, through elementary. Of course, once it gets to college, it's a different story where you have to pay a lot. Some of us take out loans to pay back after we get into our career, which could take many years. For the children out of this country and suffering places, that is impossible. So I think the right to education should be for all, and if possible, attainable to all as well.
Definitely. I would like to tie in both rights actually, the right of discrimination and the right to education, because due to my personal experience, I came from a less fortunate high school, and my teacher said like my 90s was like a 75 according to a Brooklyn Tech or one of the predominantly white schools. So basically, what my teacher was trying to say was, since we are less funded and we are in a criminal area already, the educational system is not even equal. So even if I do apply to that school, it's not even going to be really what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So for more often to say, it's like imagine if you apply to UCLA, your 90s in your high school is not gonna look nothing like them because you're black already. They already be discriminating you based off of your race and your location. But rather than you already putting in the work, you was studying, you was putting in the hours. What makes you differ from the predominantly white guy from upstate that's living in Labage or you get what I'm trying to say?
Understandable.
So both of them is really important, and this is like, we just need to bring awareness to this situation. So this is everyday things that we're going through. Whether you are white, whether you are Jewish, whether you're black, it doesn't matter. It just happening all around, but predominantly the minorities, blacks.
Yeah, it happens a lot. It is very known, in fact, in the education system here in the United States that the less fortunate or you know the lesser half of the society or population in the United States, the education for them is not really top tier, but fortunately we do surprise them at times where we have our students that go beyond and above. Um, that is something, despite them having this discrimination, that is a known fact. We they tend to work harder than most, and thus that reflects on our grades sometimes. Even those 90s, there are some who struggle in the upperclassmen that struggle with such stuff. But since we come from a lesser society, we know that we have to put in that work, that we have to work harder. It is not something that is what you call a mystery to us. You know, we are born in such situations and we sometimes outgrow them. Sometimes you see us in higher positions in the society than you would expect the white man or the more fortunate. And that is good. If we keep on going like this, I would say we're on a good path here. Um, Eventually, a lot of us will get there. Something might change or spark a change. Patience is required and dedication and hard work, but we're doing good.
Yeah, and to just piggyback off the last part, in order for something to change, we as a whole just need to have conversations like this, just to bring more awareness and more knowledge to the whole world.
Kind of show recognition towards that it's something that's actually happening and not just letting it sit in the shadows.
Definitely.
Agreed. Most of the human rights articles are not necessarily things we deal with on a day to day in the United States. We're privileged in that aspect. But some of these basic things that we would view as very basic rights, people in other countries, third world countries, struggle to maintain every day or just to achieve every day. So I think it's important that we stay grateful for the opportunities that we have, or versus the compared to the lesser who don't have the opportunity to go to school all day. I know people growing up thought of school as like a chore or like something they didn't want to go to when there are literally people fighting and dying just to be able to go to right and go to school. And it's more than going to school. School is where most kids build their personalities, they interact with other people, and that's also being stripped from them not by not having the right of education. They can't grow as a person, develop as fast as other people do. So I think it's just being grateful for the opportunities that we have as a whole, as a nation.
And with the people fighting for their schools, they're normally not fighting for like a typical American school where they're taught fairly decently. They're fighting for a very poor, impoverished, basic needs school that would be almost like considered nothing here.
Yes, going based off of that, I mean, you have back again to the example of the Afghanistan. You have them basically in a school that is probably, I would say, if we're to take one of the dorms here, smaller dorms here, say Schultz, my building, for example, they are fighting for like one floor or two of that building just to get some education in. And if we took a closer look, it is full. The teachers are struggling to keep up because they are short-staffed, but yet they still keep taking the children's in because they know what's at stake here. They're in an environment where the Taliban is coming in and killing and taking over, yet they are still maintaining that educational status where they wish the best for the younger ones. and that's all they want. That's all the parents want. The teacher wants a better future for their kids because again, we the younger generation, the newer generation, we are the future. We will make up what this country will become or wherever else happens. So I am thankful right now for being in college. There was a time where I didn't think I would be going to college, but I am here, and my hard work and patience got me here, and dedication. So we are just faithful. There just needs to be some changes around the world as well, where this kind of situation needs to happen for them as well.
Definitely, and I'm not discrediting it because we all here feel the same exact way. But I would just like this to switch the narrative real quick. So like this is where the right of expression comes into play, right? This is another way that is mainly important because like they can, like you said, they're in the Taliban, they're in Afghanistan, they are strict from these liability rights. So I feel like it's more of our responsibility, use our right to expression and talk about these things. So like they can't stay down and protest, but we can. Like just because we're privileged, that doesn't mean just leave them around in the dust. So let's actually use it and actually make a change. That's one change we could take.
I agree. The right to expression is also another valuable human right that we have because, and again, in less fortunate places, they don't even have the right to expression without retaliation. So I think that's another important article.
So for me, mine that I was going to be talking about is the right to privacy, and I think that ties in with the right to expression fairly well. If you look at countries like Afghanistan or like North Korea, you could say, they can barely talk without fear that someone's listening in on them. The government's trying to come after them. Listen, if you talk to someone who may be your friend, you're afraid that maybe they're not your friend. There's someone who's trying to come after you, that the government's hired. You gotta almost bite your tongue and just are worried that what you say could literally get you killed.
Yeah, those are one of the countries that is more technologically advanced, if I may say. I mean, that despite being a tech major, I find that very revolting that my privacy cannot be respected, um, and the government is just doing way too much. That is abuse of power, and I'm sure the citizens over there can't stand that as well, but they're in a situation where the government is way too powerful for them and they can't really do much. The moment they do speak, it can go any way. They can't predict how it goes, but having my privacy respected is a major aspect of being a human being. You know, I can't be on my phone and I'm staring at the camera and thinking the government's really spying on me right now. Like, what's up? Yeah, I remember my father used to tell me to always cover the camera on my laptop because you never know what's going on. My mom does that, by the way, and I'm like, that seems kind of absurd, but they are not wrong. They are right.
It's
it
crazy,
happens.
it's crazy because I was taught that too, though.
Yeah, the technological advance in this world is growing fast, and with it comes risk. Don't get me wrong, the benefits are nice, but you know there must be some restrictions.
And I feel like even like talking back to North Korea, like they almost don't even know what's going on there, or like some of them don't know that they are getting their human rights violated because they don't get any media that's not been filtered by the government to tell them that what's going on is wrong.
Mm.
It's like I mean, if you're told one thing your whole life and that's not actually the case, you're not going to know that one thing that you've been told your whole life isn't the truth. If you're taught that the sky is green and you're calling that green, you're not going to know that everyone else calls it blue.
For real.
Yeah.
It just brings everything back in full circle. Why we should have the right to education. why we should have the right of expression, why we shouldn't be discriminated. Because in the end, you don't know, like you said, you're gonna be physically trapped inside another realm. But in the end, if you are educated, if you are able to express yourself, things are gonna change. You're gonna open your eyes. And like we said, for the less fortunate, they are not in a predicament to do it, but we are in a predicament to do it. So I think we should take that chance and raise more awareness about human rights in general.
Agreed. So you can get more engaged and involved in this conversation this Friday at 1 o'clock in the SLC Center. We will have a human rights table. There will be multiple posters, activities for students to engage in, pamphlets to take just to learn more about it, and you could help join this conversation, help make yourself aware and make more people aware. So you should stop by. We will be there. We can further this conversation. Thank you.